A movie theater can sell out every seat, every night, for a whole month and still lose money. That's not a hypothetical. It's happened to some of the biggest chains in the world, with packed auditoriums and a popcorn line that never stopped moving. To understand how that's possible, you have to look past the screen and into the numbers behind it, because owning a movie theater isn't really one business. It's three: real estate, concessions, and timing, all wearing the same costume. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know exactly which one keeps the lights on, and it's not the one you're expecting. Start with the part almost nobody thinks about: the ticket itself. When you buy a movie ticket, the theater doesn't keep most of that money, not during opening week anyway. Movie studios negotiate what's called a box office split, and for a big release, the studio can take somewhere in the range of 60 to 70% of ticket revenue in the first week, sometimes more for the biggest titles. A theater might sell you a $14 ticket to the newest blockbuster and walk away with $3 or $4 of it. That split usually tilts back toward the theater as the weeks go on, because studios take their biggest cut right when the biggest crowds show up. So the business you assumed makes its money from tickets barely makes money from tickets at all, right when everyone's watching. So where's the real profit? Follow the smell of butter. A large popcorn that sells for $8 might cost the theater 60 to 90 cents to make. A soda costs even less, often under a quarter, and still sells for $6 or $7, a markup that would make a luxury brand blush. Industry estimates put concession margins above 80%, sometimes close to 90%. One popcorn machine in the lobby can generate more actual profit than every screen in the building combined. That's pillar number 2. The movie gets you in the door, the popcorn pays the rent. Speaking of rent, pillar number 3 is the building itself, and it's brutal. Opening a modern multiplex with reclining seats, digital projection, maybe a bar, and a premium large format screen can run $3 to $8 million before a single ticket sells. And the spending doesn't stop once the doors open. Projector bulbs cost over $1,000 each and need regular replacing. Screens tear, seats break. Then there's the lease. A big multiplex in a high-traffic location can run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, on top of electricity for non-stop air conditioning, staffing across 10-plus screens, insurance, and the licensing fees just to legally show a film. A theater looks like it's selling entertainment. What it's actually running is a small industrial operation, dressed up in red carpet and dim lighting. So why does anyone put up with all that? Because of you, actually. Because of what you're buying without realizing it. Humans don't go to theaters just to watch a movie. They go for the ritual. The dark room, the shared gasp during a jump scare, the unspoken agreement with strangers to sit quietly together for 2 hours. Streaming can replicate the movie. It can't replicate the room. That's exactly why a theater can charge 4 times retail for popcorn and you'll still buy it. You're not just buying snacks. You're buying permission to enjoy the experience guilt-free. But that loyalty has been tested harder than ever in the last few years. Streaming multiplied. Home setups got cheaper and better. And then came a shock nobody had priced into their business plans. When theaters shut down almost worldwide, some of the biggest names in the business nearly collapsed overnight. AMC, the largest chain on earth, took on billions in debt just trying to survive months of near-zero ticket sales. Cineworld, the parent company of Regal Cinemas, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in September 2022, weighed down by leases and loans it could no longer carry. These weren't small, poorly run businesses. These were global giants, proving a chain can be world-famous and financially fragile at the exact same time.
2 real examples show both sides of that coin. IMAX built its entire brand on one idea: charge more for something you genuinely cannot get at home. A screen so massive, it fills your peripheral vision. That premium bet protected it better than most chains during the hard years because it gave people a reason streaming still couldn't replace. Alamo Drafthouse bet the opposite way: combine movies with a full, restaurant-style menu delivered to your seat. Loyal fans, great concept, but running a restaurant and a cinema under one roof meant carrying 2 sets of costs at once. And in 2021, the company filed for bankruptcy before restructuring and reopening under new ownership. Same industry, same crisis, opposite lessons. Charge a premium for something irreplaceable, or watch your costs double while your margins don't. Which brings us to the mistake new theater owners make more than any other. They fall in love with the movies and forget the business standing behind the screen. They budget for construction, then get blindsided by the six-figure annual cost of sound and projection maintenance. They price tickets to compete with the multiplex down the street, without noticing that multiplex is backed by a chain that can absorb a bad quarter, and a single independent theater can't. And they almost always underestimate Pillar 3. Timing. A theater can ride 3 incredible weeks on one blockbuster, then hit a dead stretch with nothing strong enough to fill seats. And if the cash reserves weren't built for that gap, the business doesn't drown during the busy month. It drowns during the quiet one.
So where does that leave actual profit? Real, but thin. Well-run multiplexes typically land in the 5 to 10% margin range once concessions, advertising, private rentals, and premium formats are folded in with ticket sales. Nobody's getting rich overnight. It's a business that rewards patience, sharp location decisions, and relentless control over costs. The chains that survive long-term aren't the ones with the fanciest lobby. They're the ones that treat popcorn like a strategy, real estate like a chessboard, and a slow Tuesday afternoon with the same seriousness as a Friday blockbuster night. So think back to that theater from the start of the video. Sold out every night for a month and still losing money. Now you know exactly how. The tickets barely paid for themselves. The building was quietly eating 6 figures a month, and the one thing propping the whole place up was sitting in a bucket, buttered, at $8 a pop. The screen gets you through the door. The popcorn is what actually pays the bills. So next time you hand over $8 for popcorn that costs less than $1 to make, you're not being overcharged for corn. You're paying for the only part of the building that was ever profitable. If you want to see which theater chains are actually winning this math right now, that might be worth its own video. Let me know in the comments.